If you have a fat loss goal and you struggle with cravings, hunger, and overeating, an important first step is to understand your nutritional landscape, okay, and any helpful or hurtful patterns that can impact your results. Welcome to Cravings Control for Fat Loss. I'm your host, Laura Cavallo, former sugar binger, overeater, and yo-yo dieter turned fat loss and cravings coach for hundreds of busy women. Here at Cravings Control for Fat Loss, I'll be sharing mindset, movement, and metabolism strategies for those who are ready to ditch the fat diet cycle and slim down without counting calories, tracking points, or giving up any of the foods they love. Get ready to embrace progress over perfection, grace over guilt, and bring curiosity and learning to the inevitable ups and downs of your life. Expect a decrease in your cravings while seeing and feeling an improvement in how you look, how you feel, and your overall quality of life. I am so excited you're here, boo. Let's get started. Hey there, boo. I have a special gift for you. I created a free guide with 10 proven ways to reduce afternoon cravings and nighttime overeating. And I created this in response to knowing that this is a really big struggle for a lot of women out there, and maybe it is for you too. It's like once the afternoon hits, you can't stop snacking, you're grazing, you're looking for sugar, you're looking for something to soothe, to comfort you, to deal with stress. Maybe you're on the go and you just like don't have time to make anything or cook anything, and then one treat leads into the next. So in this guide, you're going to learn how to get control of your eating with simple and actionable tips that you can start to do right away, okay? And the guide is completely free. I created it just for you. So you're going to scroll to the resources section below and click the link to download it. After you do and you thumb through it, shoot me a message on Instagram. Let me know which tip you're going to start implementing this week and what you think of the guide. I hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cravings Control for Fat Loss. My name is Laura Cavallo. I am your cravings and fat loss coach. And today I am recording episode 100. This is so crazy. Not that I didn't think I would make it here because I didn't really know what to expect, but last year I created this podcast episode and decided to start it kind of on a whim. I just felt like I wanted to connect to my audience in a different way. And sometimes being on Instagram, it's really hard to get nuanced and detailed and, for you to hear my voice and to connect with my personality. And so I was like, I'm just going to create a podcast. I have so much I want to share, so much strategy. There's so much to talk about. And I hope that this podcast has helped you even just take one little step in your cravings journey. And I want you to know that sometimes one little step can mean a huge snowball effect into the rest of your life. So stick with these strategies, stick with these topics, stick with me. I really truly believe that there is hope and there is an end in sight and there is a better way of eating, living, and managing cravings. If you have just started following me or listening to me, I know it can feel like there is no hope, like it's only dead ends and everything you've tried just doesn't work. And I hear this all the time when I start working with women. It's like, well, do you really think you can help me? I've invested in other coaches and I feel like I've wasted my money. I've tried everything. Like, what makes you different? And I get it. I get it so hard, especially after 5 years of fad dieting and over 10 fad diets. It's like, well, all right, well, maybe this is the next one. Like, maybe this will be it. Right. But that's why I put the podcast out, because I want you to take these strategies. I want you to go and apply them and try them on your own and see even small results that you can reap by applying these strategies. Now, of course, it's always nice to have the guidance and support of a coach. So if you ever need anything, if you ever want to know like my recommendations for you, if you think you would be a good fit for one-on-one coaching or the Cravings Code group program, go ahead and shoot me a DM on Instagram. I am not a pushy coach. I am not someone that's going to like force you to work with me. That's not my style. I only want to work with women that I feel like A, are excited about working with me, B, are ready to work with me. If I feel like it's not a good match, I will absolutely tell you. I have turned down clients before, only because I didn't feel like I was the best coach for them. I want you to get results, right? If you don't get results, it doesn't benefit you and it doesn't benefit me, right? I want you to feel successful. And so even if you want to just drop me a line and say hi and introduce yourself and let me know why you started listening to the podcast, I really love to hear from all of our listeners and all of the women in our community. And as a thank you, I want to read a review that someone left on the podcast. And if you are enjoying the podcast and you want to leave a 5-star rating, it would really help me out so much, as it helps this podcast become more shareable. And even if you write like 1 or 2 lines of like something that you've learned or something that you like, it helps other women when they come across the podcast, they see the review and they're like, huh, okay, like this person said XYZ. She's my age, or she sounds like relatable to me. So don't be shy if you want to leave a couple sentences. Otherwise, you can just leave 5 stars and that's it. So Mom B24 shares, I love Laura's topics and guests. As a mom at midlife, I really appreciate her knowledge and education. I love the motivation I get to stay focused and gives me so much inspiration to continue good habits with my health journey. Thanks so much, Mom B24. Your review means a lot. It's super, super helpful for our listeners and for me. So thank you again. So I was not planning on having a spiel at the beginning of this podcast, but I guess I just got really excited and inspired for our 100th episode. And, I just want to help as many women as possible, because I think back to the previous version of myself and how helpless I felt and how I just did not think that there was going to be any solution for me. And so I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And if you can hear the fucking dog barking in the background. Ugh. So today, let's talk about why you should start a cravings journal and how to get started with a cravings journal. So if you have a fat loss goal and you struggle with cravings, hunger, and overeating, an important first step is to understand your nutritional landscape, okay, and any helpful or hurtful patterns that can impact your results. So at Laura Cavallo Coaching, our main approach to sustainable nutrition and fat loss is Satisful Nutrition, okay? So we don't use counting or measurements, or we don't track points as a way to help our clients see results. We prefer to use Satisful Nutrition strategies, some of which you will learn in the Cravings Code if you join in February. But when you start tracking, it's the same approach, right? I'm not talking about tracking using MyFitnessPal or using calories or measuring cups or anything like that. You can just use a simple digital notes on your app or a paper and pen app, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to help track your meals throughout the day, but we actually take this a step further, and I want you to also track your hunger and your cravings levels as well, okay? So a cravings journal is important because it can help you understand some patterns, bring more awareness to your nutrition. It could lend insight even to why cravings are happening. And then you become more informed on how to possibly start making some changes to manage them better. As a result, you have an easier time with cravings control. You have an easier time with fat loss. In addition, a meal journal can also see how often you're eating, how much you're eating, and the distribution of those meals as it relates throughout your day. So there's a lot that you can gather from your cravings journal and your nutrition journal, your food journal, whatever you want to call it. I call it a cravings journal because we're talking about cravings, we're talking about fat loss, but you can set it up very much like a nutrition journal that maybe you've done in the past, but we're going to add a couple layers to it. So this is how I want you to execute it. So again, you can use your phone, the Notes app, or you can just get a journal, small notebook, carry it around with you, leave it in your purse or have it in your back pocket when you're going out. So the first thing you want to include in your nutrition or cravings journal is the time that you wake up and the time that you go to bed. Okay. So you want to have timestamps for waking up, what time you go to bed, as well as the times of all of your meals. Okay. So say 7:30, wake up, 9 a.m., first meal, whatever it is. Okay. 10:30, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Make sure that you have your timestamps, okay? In addition to your timestamps, you're going to have the contents of those meals, okay? So again, we're not using macros or measuring or anything like that, but you want to get as specific as possible as you can. So if I'm going to have, let's say, eggs in the morning with some spinach and a slice of toast, I'm going to be super specific. So I'm going to say 3 scrambled large eggs, 2 large handfuls of spinach, 1 slice of whole wheat branded toast, whatever the brand is, okay? And 1 large glass of orange juice. So you want to get as specific as possible. So let's say I have like a sandwich for lunch. I'm going to say 6 slices of oven gold roasted turkey, 3 large leaves of lettuce, half of a tomato, whole wheat pita, the brand name, 1 can of soda, and 1 large apple. Okay, so get as specific as possible. Now, in addition, we're going to take this a step further. Okay, we're going to add in when you feel hungry and or when you are craving something. Okay, and we're going to rate your hunger and your fullness on a scale of 1 to 10. And then your cravings, we're going to rate on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay, so let's start with hunger and a fullness scale. Okay, so the hunger and fullness scale is on a scale of from 1 to 10. Okay, 1 is going to be very hungry, like you feel weak. 5 is going to be not hungry, just normal, neutral. And then 10 is going to be very full. Okay, where like you feel kind of sick. Okay, so before you eat, you're going to identify how hungry you are. So somewhere between like 5 is not hungry, neutral, 1 is really hungry. So you're gonna rate it somewhere between 1 and a 5. And then after you eat, you can also note how full you are. So before you eat, it's going to be between a 1 and a 5, and then after you eat, it's going to be somewhere between a 5 and a 10. Okay, so you can go ahead and rate these before and after you eat. So for example, in the morning, I might say like 2, hungry, but like okay. And then after I eat, I might add in my fullness scale. Okay, so like I'm full, but not like sick full. So I'm going to say like I'm a 7. Okay, that's going to be your hunger and fullness scale. Okay. Then, if you experience any cravings throughout the day, maybe your afternoon cravings or nighttime cravings, you're going to rate that on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is going to be low, like no craving, like not really interested in anything. 2 is going to be, okay, I'm starting to crave something, like definitely thinking about it. 3, moderate. 4, can't wait. I'm thinking about it all the time. And then 5, insatiable, cannot control myself, ravenous. Okay. So you can go ahead and use this craving scale 1 to 5 to help guide you. If you're listening right now and you want to start using a cravings journal, open up your notes app or pull out a piece of paper and write this down. You're going to include timestamps. You're going to include the contents of your meals. You're also going to include anything that you drink. Water, soda, tea, coffee. Again, as specific as possible with everything. You're going to include a hunger and fullness scale from 1 to 10. 1 being very hungry, where you feel weak. 10 is very full, where you feel sick. 5 is neutral, not hungry. And then you're going to use a craving scale from 1 to 5. 1, little to no cravings. 5, cannot control myself, insatiable. 3 is a moderate craving. Okay, so I want you to track this for 5 to 7 days. Okay, and then at the end of this 5 to 7 days, I want you to observe, when am I the most hungry? When am I the most full? When are my cravings really intense? And I want you to identify just 2 or 3 patterns. So, for example, you might find that your hunger is at its highest in the afternoons. So, it asks you to go and observe what are you doing earlier in the day that could be impacting your hunger. Same thing with your cravings. When are your cravings the highest? What's happening around that time? Is it the same time every night, or is that craving changing? What I'm going to do, I'm also going to include my episode on cravings versus hunger so you can start to identify the difference between each one. I'll link that episode below. I think it's episode like 4 or 5. It was very early on last year, and I'll include that in there. So after you create your cravings journal, go ahead and shoot me a message on Instagram. Let me know what you've observed from your cravings journal. Let me know if this was helpful at all and what you learned from it. I can't wait to hear more, and I'll talk to you soon.